Don't forget to go to ashkicking.com for pound the best home health and beauty fragrance products.
Hi, I'm Bobby Dean, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Let's talk about this. Boy, oh boy, I tell you, there is a new revelation almost every other day when it comes to Team Golovkin, ever since Canelo Alvarez failed that drug test and pulled out of that fight with Gennady Golovkin. You guys ready for this one? Okay, well, apparently, now Team Golovkin, Golovkin's trainer, Abel Sanchez, he is now saying they are no longer really interested in unifying the belts. Abel Sanchez said there are more important things that Golovkin cares about right now than unifying belts, and that is staying active, just staying busy. Abel Sanchez, he also attributes this to Billy Joe Saunders. He says that he doesn't believe Billy Joe Saunders will ever fight against Gennady Golovkin. I'm going to talk about all of that, but let me go ahead and quote exactly what Abel Sanchez said. The priority is to keep Gennady busy. We know now that he's never going to be unified champion. Saunders is never going to fight him because Saunders is looking for lottery money. He's waiting for the opportunity, and Saunders doesn't want to fight him. He asked for $7 million to fight Jacobs. Imagine what he would want. And then he says, imagine what he would want for Golovkin. He said Anthony Joshua money. So we're kind of certain we're not going to get that belt. The belts are not as important as what's in Gennady's best interest. He's not bummed out. What he would have been bummed out about it not being able to fight on the 5th. Now, before I go ahead and respond to everything that Abel Sanchez just said right there, I want to address the diehard Golovkin fans right now. Listen, for everyone in the comment section that keeps watching all of my videos, posting comments because you want your voice to be heard, if you're willing to watch these videos and post comments in the comment section, you should be man enough to call up to my radio show that we do this Sunday, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern. If you really believe that rhetoric you putting out there in the comment section, call the radio show. Because it doesn't make any sense if you're willing to put your comments in the comment section, but you're not man enough to call in and tell us why what Golovkin is doing is making all the sense in the world, and why what I'm about to say and what I've said in the past doesn't make sense, why you disagree with it. Because there's only one explanation why you can be the most verbal when it comes to the comment section on all of my videos when it comes to Golovkin, but then you're the most silent when it comes to us doing an actual radio show and having an actual conversation about the matter. We know why they won't call in, because they know deep down that we are speaking the whole truth right here on Dante's Boxing Nation. Everything that I have told you guys from day one when it comes to all the excuses that Team Golovkin has made, everything that I told you has come out as facts. I tell you guys all the time on this channel, you could throw the truth in the jail cell, throw the key away, and that truth is going to find a way to break free. And today, that truth continues to break free when it comes to these Golovkin revelations. So let's go ahead and talk about this huge hypocritical statement that Abel Sanchez just made, telling the public that unifying the belts is no longer the priority. The priority now is just to stay active. Team Golovkin's priorities have went from fighting anyone from 154 to 168 to unifying all the belts at 160 to now just staying active, just staying busy. It don't matter who we fight now. We just want to stay busy. So in other words, the priority is to continue to fight the Vanes Monterosians, the Muratas, the Adamas, the Willie Monroes, the Dominic Wades. That is the priority right now. You know what makes that statement so ironic, guys? This is usually what a young undefeated prospect, who's like 3-0, who's like 6-0. He hasn't been tested and he's just still trying to get acclimated to the pros, the transition, right? Usually you hear a green fighter say something like that. That's the only time it makes sense to hear someone say the priority right now is to just stay active. We want to have like 3-4 fights in a year. But when you're comparing yourself to Bernard Hopkins, when ESPN is telling the public that Golovkin is top 25, one of the greatest fighters in the last 25 years, one of the greatest in the last 25 years, telling the public when your competition intensifies that now you are no longer interested in facing tough competition and you just want to stay active to continue fighting the Vanes Monterosians, the Adamas, or fighting Canelo 3 or 4 or 5 times. That doesn't cut it, guys. That doesn't cut it. Something else Abel Sanchez said that didn't make sense at all. He said, we are no longer interested in unifying the belts because Billy Joe Saunders will never fight against Gennady Golovkin. But then, if you guys paid attention to what he said, he used the key word was imagine. He said he wanted $7 million to fight Danny Jacobs. Imagine what he would want to fight against Golovkin. So he's admitting that they haven't even negotiated a deal yet. They haven't even asked Billy Joe Saunders what he wants. What really doesn't make sense about that excuse of why they no longer are interested in unifying the titles is because 2 years ago, Billy Joe Saunders, he had no interest in fighting against Gennady Golovkin. And at that time, let Golovkin and Sanchez tell it, the priority was still to unify the belts. They were extremely aggressive and adamant when they were telling people, this is the goal. This is the goal, to unify the belts, right? And it's funny because even when they wanted to fight against Canelo, and Canelo wanted no parts of Golovkin at the time, even when Canelo gave up his belt to not fight Golovkin, that was still their priority, was to get Canelo in the ring. So Team Golovkin has never been the type to easily get discouraged when it comes to what they want. The mission was to unify the belts when Billy Joe Saunders openly had no interest in facing Golovkin like almost 2 years ago. Now all of a sudden, after Billy Joe Saunders, he comes out and he says, I'm willing to fight Golovkin in September. Now that he's saying he's interested, now all of a sudden, Golovkin and Team Golovkin, they're telling the public that they're never going to be unified because Saunders will not take the fight. You could have said that 2 years ago. Team Golovkin could have said, you know what, since we're not going to unify the belts and there's no competition at 160, we're going to go ahead and fight pound for pound the best fighter in the world, Andre Ward, to show that we're pound for pound the best fighter in the world. After all, it was the diehard Golovkin fans, it was you fans that said you wanted to see Andre Ward move up in weight and fight Sergey Kovalev. That is exactly what he did. He beat him twice, right? So how come Golovkin couldn't do the same thing that Andre Ward did? Move up in weight and fight pound for pound the best fighter in the world, Andre Ward. You know what, speaking of Andre Ward, I want to go back to Abel Sanchez saying that Golovkin's priority right now is to just stay active. I want you guys to imagine, what would fans have said when Andre Ward went on his 2-year hiatus after he won the Super 6, imagine if Andre Ward would have said, you know what, guys, from this point on, my main priority is to just stay active. That means no Sergey Kovalev fight. That means no top light heavyweight fights, no threats at the light heavyweight division, no threats at 168. I am just going to stay active. What do you think fans would have said if Andre Ward would have said that? What do you think the same fans that are defending Gennady Golovkin right now, what do you think they would have said about Andre Ward? We know what they would have said because we know what they said when Andre Ward wanted to fight Alexander Brand, right? We know what they said when he fought competition on that level. This is how good it is to have your hope insurance. This is how good it is to be on the hope list. Gennady Golovkin doesn't even have to keep his own word. He doesn't even have to keep his own promise that he wanted to unify the belts. And this puts his fans in a very difficult situation because it's been the fans that have been defending Golovkin and repeating his every word. It was the fans that kept saying, hey man, leave Golovkin alone. He wants to unify the belts. He wants to unify the belts. He wants to unify the belts. This is what the fans have been saying for the last 2 years. He wants to unify the belts. Just to hear Golovkin say unifying the belts is no longer a priority, just facing anyone lower tier, right? Just facing anyone that's not top elite competition is my priority now. How is his fans going to defend this? And fans, if you were the ones that was telling us that Golovkin wants to unify the belts, and now Golovkin is telling you he no longer wants to unify the belts, isn't it time for you guys to start telling the truth and being a little honest and saying, now this is just a little hypocritical on Golovkin's part? He just wants to stay active. Can you imagine if Deontay Wilder didn't fight Luis King Kong Ortiz, the most dangerous heavyweight in the division, and he didn't have an interest in facing Anthony Joshua, and he said, you know what, guys, my main priority right now is just staying active. Bomb squad. Can you imagine if Deontay Wilder said that? Can you imagine if Errol Spence, after he beat Kell Brook, he said, my priority is just to stay active? Imagine if Floyd Mayweather, after he beat Corrales, after he beat Castillo, after he beat Genaro Hernandez, he said, my priority is to just stay active. I don't really want to fight this level of competition. My priority is to just stay active. Guys, we are using Golovkin's own words. It was Golovkin that told the public. It was Golovkin's fans that regurgitated everything Golovkin said and told the public that Golovkin just wants to unify the belts. Now, the priority is to just stay active. How can you guys justify this? How can you guys defend Golovkin's actions? How can you defend this? And I tell you what, to all my racist fans that love watching my videos and posting all your racist comments or your closet racist comments, it's funny because they'll always say some stuff like, they always try to change the narrative and try to make it seem like, oh, these black bastards, you black bastards are just hating on Golovkin, etc., etc. So what particular race would you say in the sport of football only wants to see the best teams make it to the playoffs, make it to the Super Bowl? What race would you say is that? Because apparently, according to the races, only black people want to see a Super Bowl in boxing. Only black people want to see the finals, right? So it's okay for us to want to see Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman. It's okay for us to want to see Anthony Joshua versus Wilder. It's okay for us to want to see Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather, but it's not okay to want to see Golovkin unify the belts. You see how this works, guys? You see how Golovkin has forced his own fans to fend for themselves? Now, he forces his fans to contradict themselves. Because now the fans, they're going to say, hey, you're just hating on Golovkin if you want him to unify the belts. But wait a minute. You were defending him before, saying, hey, you're hating on Golovkin. Golovkin wants to unify the belts, so leave him alone. Now it's hating on Golovkin if you want him to still unify them belts. See, what Golovkin done did is he done got his fans tangled up into a bunch of lies. A bunch of Golovkin not lies. And it's going to take forever for them to untangle themselves out of all of them damn knots. But once again, speaking of these racist fans that always suggest that, oh, it's just these black bastards that want to see Golovkin step up in competition, and all these black people care about is Mayweather, Andre Ward, and Errol Spence, etc., because this is what they always say. The funny thing is, right now, I'm in Sofia, Bulgaria. Then I'll be in Turkey tomorrow. But I'm out here in southeastern Europe right now. Only 3 hours away from Kazakhstan, where Golovkin is from. And I got some bonus footage that I'm gonna play for you guys. Because I had some DBN fans that were showing love out here, and they were talking about basketball and all kind of stuff. Now, just some random cats that I was talking to, they started talking about hip hop and basketball, and then I asked them who their favorite fighter was. Now, keep in mind, once again, we are over here close to Kazakhstan, okay? We are in Europe. And I asked this guy who his favorite fighter is, and he says Floyd Mayweather. He says Floyd Mayweather, and then he says Money Mayweather, right? So to the Golovkin fans that tried to suggest that only black people would praise Floyd Mayweather, how do you explain fans that are living in Europe praising Floyd Mayweather and not even mentioning Triple G's name? How do you guys explain that? Because let you tell it, only black people would say that Floyd Mayweather is their favorite fighter, right? Even though it turns out that the majority of non-black people are the ones that are praising Floyd Mayweather over Gennady Golovkin. Like I told you guys plenty of times, Mikey Garcia said his favorite fighter is Floyd Mayweather. Mikey Garcia's father, he said that Floyd Mayweather is the greatest fighter of all time. Oscar De La Hoya said Floyd Mayweather is the greatest fighter of all time. Joel Diaz has praised Floyd Mayweather as top 3, one of the greatest. Felix Tito Trinidad praised Floyd Mayweather as pound for pound the greatest fighter of all time. Top 2 is what he said. I can name tons of trainers and boxers that aren't even black that are praising fighters like Floyd Mayweather, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. How do you diehard Golovkin fans explain this? Because let them tell it, only a black person would say that Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence is a special fighter, or at least has potential to go further than a Gennady Golovkin. You know, that's it for now. I'm gonna go and wrap this one up. Like I said, man, I really want these diehard Golovkin fans to call into the radio show. Because the only reason why you would be in the comment section watching my videos once again and not calling in is if you know that what you are saying is not true, it's false. And you know that if you call in, I'm gonna make you look like a damn fool with nothing but facts. And it ain't gonna be no disrespect, it's gonna be professional, but you're just gonna get educated with facts, and you know this to be the case. That's why they're afraid to call in. That's all I got, y'all. Once again, we're doing the radio show. Tune in this Sunday, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern. That's all I got. It's the nation, baby. Yep.